It's a tale as old as time that comes all the way from my people, the Greeks. Both the drama aspect and the actual sport aspect of it. I believe in longevity. If you ever walk away from the table, you'll never get the winning hand. You may not believe wrestling's real, but you'll believe I'm real. My next match is always my biggest opportunity. There's no guarantees in this business. This business owes you nothing. Understand that. I learn from everybody. I was trained by Homicide and Mikey Whipwreck. I want them to learn that, hey man, there's nothing wrong with failing. Because when you fail, you learn. The only thing that hasn't happened is I haven't signed with a national company. A couple times came close.
Call it how I see it, straight talk, no disguise. So the slang dripping, got the truth in my eyes. Might like gavel, every word, lay it down. Coach C in the booth, turn the game all around. Yeah, it's Coach C, he the best for business. It's Coach C, he the best for business. Yeah, I'm sharp as attack when I call the play-by-play. Every dog got his day, and I make the crowd stay. It's every week we go live on a Wednesday. Dressing so sharp, that's the reason why your friends stay. The youngest in the game to do it, best for business. Coach C is the truth, and everybody gonna witness. Love entertainment, you swear it's your destiny. Link with Coach C, we can talk about your legacy. It's Coach C, he the best for business. It's Coach C, he the best for business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. I'm pumped for this one. Papadon, thank you so much for joining me for this one.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate the opportunity.
I'm excited for this one. You've had a storied career. You've done a lot in pro wrestling, so I'm curious. Originally, when it comes to pro wrestling, what was the thing about wrestling that even made you interested in it at first?
That's a very good question. Well, let's see. It's a tale as old as time that comes all the way from my people, the Greeks, since we invented it. Both the drama aspect and the actual sport aspect of it. But in honesty, I mean, it has nothing to me doing with me being Greek and wrestling being in my DNA. When I was young, obviously I was a little Hulkamaniac, like everybody else here in the Northeast in New York, and loved watching the I guess the drama, the live action comic book come to life, your hero and villain. I'm a big comic book guy, a big geek. As you may or may not tell, behind me I got the big McFarlane Spider-Man right there. But regardless, the thing that really made me want to be a wrestler was a match between Sting and Ric Flair. And it's not their typical Clash of the Champions or Great American Bash match. It was a regular TV match that they had on something called NWA Power Pro, which was here in New York on Channel 11, which is the CW now, but used to be known as WPIX.
Okay.
So I remember watching the match, and I'm like, who is this guy? Regarding to Sting. And I became a little Stinger, fell in love. And then a few months later, maybe, I don't know the exact time frame, he wrestled again on the show against Mike Rotunda. And they were doing the Varsity Club gimmick with Kevin Sullivan and Rick Steiner. Also, Dr. Death Steve Williams joined later on. But at the time, Mike Rotunda was a TV champion, and you had to beat him within a certain time frame. And Sting won the TV championship from Mike Rotunda. And he won a $15,000 cash prize in a bag within a certain amount of time. And I'm like, yo, this is what I want to do. So I vividly remember walking up to my mother in the kitchen in Jackson Heights and going to her, hey, Ma, I know I want to be when I grow up. And mind you, she's washing the dishes. She's probably expecting doctor or lawyer. That's what she's hoping. You know, a typical Greek immigrant from here from Greece wants her kid to become, you know, a doctor or lawyer, make buku bucks. I want to be a pro wrestler. She looked at me and she's like, go play with your toys. And I felt like the kid Ralphie from the Christmas Story, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone telling me, you're gonna shoot your eye out, kid. So
Yeah.
that was the day I wanted to become a pro wrestler.
Wow. So at a young age, you tell your mom you want to do it. Eventually, when do you decide time to start pursuing it? And do you have like athletic background, I assume, playing sports and all that growing up?
Oh yeah, I grew up my entire life playing sports.
Was your whole goal pro wrestling growing up, or what did you want to be?
Honestly, there were two things I wanted to do. One was become a professional wrestler, and two was draw comic books for Marvel or DC Comics because I'm also an artist. And I draw very well. I've been told that it's a talent that many feel that I wasted only because I have not pursued it you know, on that plateau. And the reason being, it's because when I was about to go to college, I had an opportunity to go to Cooper Union and go to college for free for art and all this other stuff. My father, being the Greek immigrant that he is, threatened to throw me out of the house if I didn't go to college and become a doctor or a lawyer.
Hmm.
So I didn't call his bluff, and I never went to school for art. And that's a main reason also why I became a professional wrestler, because when I said to myself, when I graduated college, I said, all right, I'm not going to live with regret. Let me follow this dream and become a professional wrestler. And here I am.
Wow. So when you first started originally, what do you go for? What's the inspiration with Papadon originally?
Well, Papadon's my last name.
Okay.
Um, if you put an IOU at the end of Papadon, that's my long Greek last name, Papadonio.
Okay.
So I just shortened it because it's easier to say Papadon than Papadonio. Demetrius Papadon, right? That's
Mhm.
my name. Demetrius is my first name. In Greek, it means Jimmy. So, um, I needed something cool. And true story, my brother at the time was on, I guess, a chat room, or he was in high school. My
Yeah.
brother Andrew, my younger brother, someone was like, "Yo, Papa Don sounds like Capadon from like Wu-Tang. That should be your screen name." So he took it with two ends, and then I ripped it off from him and took it off and just left, one end. And he always like, "Yo, you bit my style, kid. You're a biter. You're a biter." I'm like, "It's all right. It's all right. It's our
Yeah.
last name. I'm not biting. I was born first, so it's technically you're biting after me." So that's
Wow.
that's basically the story behind Papa Don.
Wow. When you look at Papadon too, especially, I know the character Papadon has evolved, but how come Papadon has stayed for this long in pro wrestling? Obviously, people change personas left and right, but you've always remained Papadon. So what's the secret, you think?
I'm that damn good. No, I don't want to sound conceited. I mean, I've morphed, and
Yeah.
evolved as time went along. Um, Honestly, dude, I believe in longevity. And there's a couple of sayings that I've taken that I've heard regarding the business or life in general that I use as my quote unquote mantra for the business. One of them is, and I believe the story goes. Uh, and this was told to me, I believe, by Mikey Whipwreck. The Macho Man told him this one time. And I wish Tobin was here. He could have done it in his Macho Man voice. It'd be awesome. But it was, if you ever walk away from the table, you'll never get the winning hand. That's one mantra.
Mhm.
Another saying that I hold very near and dear to my black heart is that you may not believe wrestling's real, but you'll believe I'm real. And that's a style that I bring, believability and realism. Because wrestling is a variety show. You have your different flavors, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. I bring reality and realism in my matches, and people don't know what is what. There's always a blurred line, you know?
Yeah.
So I know how to piss people off very well. My wife tells me that all the time. So I've been a great heel. In July 17 is my wrestling anniversary. I
Congratulations.
started it. Thank you. I'll be 27 years in professional wrestling, and started July 17, 1999 at the LIWF Doghouse. Started training in June. So only after 1 month of training, I had my first pro match.
Wow.
So here I am, 27 years later, rocking and rolling, and not looking to stop. I mean, the other day, Fandango saw me at the big event, and he's like, "Yo, Papadon, what's up?" He goes, "You still doing this nonsense?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Ah, you're a lifer." I guess I am. I took
Wow.
it as a compliment. So
Yeah. When you look at your career, you mentioned all the years you've done pro wrestling. What would you consider Papadon's first big opportunity when it came to wrestling?
my next match.
Okay.
My next
Yeah.
match is always my biggest opportunity,
Yeah.
and I'm very blessed to have it. Ups, downs, and anywhere in betweens. I mean, I've wrestled all over the world. I've wrestled for every major company, every major star you guys see on TV. I've done wrestled. Um, the only thing that hasn't happened is I haven't signed with a national company. A couple of times came close, and I haven't gone to Japan. Supposed to go to Japan 3 times, and 3 times the rug got pulled out of me last minute. Hasn't happened. That's obviously something I'm dying to do
Yeah.
and would love to do. But more importantly, I want to make it to a national level to show everybody that, hey, man, I put in the work. I deserve to be here. But more importantly, to show my kids that never give up on your dreams and always work hard at it, and eventually it'll happen.
Yeah. When you look at your career, everything you got to do originally, what's the idea come for you team with Havok originally?
Ha! Ha! This is a funny story. So, all right. we trained at the LIWF Doghouse.
Yep.
Havok is originally from the Samoans school, Pops, AFA,
Mhm.
the Wild Samoans training school, and at the time it was WXW, uh, up in Allentown, Pennsylvania. He trained initially there. He ended up coming to the Doghouse before I got there, and was just because it was a lot closer than driving to Pennsylvania all the time, and he got polished up by Homicide at the Doghouse.
Mhm.
He was trained by Alpha and Molson, Jack Molson, and he was polished by Homicide. And then I showed up at the Doghouse. I was trained by Homicide. Later on, continued my training at NYWC and polished up by Mikey Whipwreck.
Mhm.
That's a story for another time. But
Yeah.
pertaining to this story, um, one week I was wearing a black singlet. He was wearing a black singlet, and there was a guy named John Shane, the sure thing John Shane,
Mhm.
greatest manager never to make it on TV. Along with Rob Dimension and Brian Vitko. Um, but point is, um, he was talking to Homicide, and Homicide's like, "Yo, put the two white boys together in the singlet. They could be a tag team." So there you go. So they had us together. John Shane became our manager, and initially, I just wanted to be called Papadon and Havok, like Christian and Edge. I didn't want a team name.
Yeah.
But the first company that took an interest in Havok and myself, we earned our roster spot there, was Ricky O's Jersey Championship Wrestling. And
Mhm.
Ricky O gave us an opportunity, but he wanted us to have a team name. He was old school. He goes, you guys are from New York. You guys are gonna be like the New York Wise Guys." And we're like, I don't know. We don't want to do that gimmick." He's like, "Well, we'll come up with something." So we were driving one day, and I said something to the boys. I'm like, "Hey man, why don't we call ourselves the Final Solution? Because we're gonna end everyone's a problem. We're gonna end them." He goes, "Yo, we can't use that." I'm like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because that people Final Solution, that terminology is used with the Holocaust. It won't work." I went, "Oh." I said, "Okay then, how about just the solution? Because everybody's the problem." And that's how it was born.
Wow. Is there any moments with the Boogie Nights or memories that stick out for you?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I loved wrestling Drake and Tobin, bro. They
Yeah.
were awesome. One of my favorite memories is we wrestled them at the Elks Lodge one time. I mean, we wrestled them plenty of times at the Elks Lodge, but this one time in particular, they were dressed in Cobra Kai gis.
They debuted in the Cobra Kai against you, I remember.
And we had a great match, and I came up with the final spot where they both threw a crane kick to us, and the crowd popped huge.
Uh,
But working with them is very easy because they have the talent, they had the gift of gab, both of them, and they both had passion. And both Drake and Tobin took pride in their work. So when you were able to find somebody like that across from you in the ring, someone who actually cares about the story you're trying to tell, it's like a single walk on the beach, night off. It was easy, it was perfect. And
yeah.
I could do it every day and twice on Sunday, as cliche as it sounds, with the
Wow.
Boogie Nights.
You talk about all the companies that you got to wrestle for the solution or just in general. For you, especially during that time, how does Jersey All Pro happen?
Well, Jersey All Pro happened because, like I said, we were training at the Doghouse.
Hmm.
Fat Frank got a lot of the Doghouse guys. It started off very hardcore-ish with Jay Lover and Low Life Louie, and they were killing it in Homicide. And then he brought in Low Key, and then they put Monster Mac together with Danny Moff. By the time he was only going by Mafia, and they became the Hit Squad, the tag team. And then they brought in the Christopher Street Connection, and then they brought in the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and then they brought in Deranged and Ghost Shot. So everybody from the Doghouse started at the Doghouse and transitioned into JAP. So it was just an ebb and flow that just worked into that company.
Yeah. When you just mentioned the solution, is there like a match that sticks out? Because you guys got to wrestle. You talk about the tag teams Jersey All Pro, but the amount of tag teams you guys got to wrestle.
Dude, we've had a lot of good matches.
Yeah.
Matches that stick out in my mind is obviously the match we were just talking about Tobin and Drake, the Boogie Knights in the Karate Kid gi. I mean, Cobra Kai gis. Another great match. We had a double tables match for Impact Championship Wrestling, or Universal Championship Wrestling. I forgot if it was UCW or ICW at the time. Jack Sabbath's Federation at the Elks Lodge, not the Elks Lodge now, which is next door. The original Elks Lodge, the original Elks Lodge, where ECW ran. My favorite building to ever wrestle in. And it was the Hit Squad versus us. And we got a standing ovation not only from everybody in the all whatever 1,000 people, 800 people, whatever it was in the building at night, but also from the entire locker room. And it was
Oh,
a great night. So wrestling a Hit Squad is always a memory for us. America's Most Wanted in cyberspace. We gave them their best matches in that place, and they put us over twice where they didn't have to, and they looked forward to working us. And we thought we were going to parlay our way into TNA. We almost did. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Who else there was a great? Oh, the Moondogs in WXW
yeah.
and Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Oh my God, we had plenty of fun with Casey Blade and EC Negro. One time in JCW, I'm breaking a little kayfabe here, but obviously, if you follow the product or you were an independent wrestling fan, you knew it was us. John Shane turned on us and joined them. And coincidentally, we didn't read the fine print in the contract, so we got suspended for 3 months. Also, coincidentally, as a solution got suspended and thrown out the company for 3 months, a new masked tag team from Mexico came in, Los Problemas, the problem. So it was us under the hoods wrestling and doing the whole Midnight Rider, Mr. America gimmick, and having so much fun with the dancing in the ring and being baby faces, where John Shane's losing his cool and DRS is getting mad. They know it's us, and it was a lot of fun. So, and that was also Ricky O's idea too. So kudos to Ricky O for being a good booker on that.
Wow. When you're talking about companies too, you mentioned cyberspace. I talked to Tobin, Josh Daniels mentions it. What is like the atmosphere like wrestling for cyberspace? Because some of those matches still hold up to this day.
It was great. I mean,
Yeah.
because they used Billy Firehawk. Unfortunately, the only problem he had, in my opinion,
Hmm.
is he couldn't separate being a fan from being an owner of the company.
Hmm.
And a lot of people frowned on that and called him "quote unquote" a mark. But overall, he was a nice guy and a sweetheart. One of the best guys I've ever worked for. Um, and he actually liked uh, wrestling to a certain degree, but he loved Havoc. He loved myself, and he loved John Shane.
Hmm.
And he had the company started off uh, not doing well as far as drawing crowds, but then they hired a booker named Die Hard Derek. Yeah, he used to work with WCW at the time, doing production and all that stuff. He came in and was the booker, and they started turning the pace around. And the big thing is that they were using a lot of TNA names. So people would come and see TNA up in the Northeast, here in New York and New Jersey area, when they weren't see we were they, no, the only place they could see them otherwise is the weekly pay-per-views
Hmm.
down south at the Tennessee, and they were intermingled with the independent talent. So we wrestled the Naturals, we wrestled America's Most Wanted. They got a chance to wrestle, like Slick Wagner Brown was wrestling, with Jeff Jarrett and this one and that one, and Sinister X was wrestling. He was a champ for a while with a bunch of the top guys there. Grim Reaper was wrestling with Shawn Michaels, quote unquote nephew. I forgot the guy's name, Michael Shane, I think it was his
Yeah, I
name.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone had a chance, and Josh Daniel wrestled a few, TNA guys. So it was always a good time. It was a good atmosphere.
Yeah. Is the first time you get to do something with like not national, but the time the TNA and NWA, you guys are got to wrestle. I forgot the Harris brothers early on. Is that like the first
Yeah.
time you do something with like a company like that?
Yeah, Bill Behrens. I was talking to Bill Behrens, and he was running booking extras and all that stuff, and getting people opportunities. And we went down to Tennessee the first time. We did it twice as a solution.
Hmm.
Once was against the Harris brothers, and we got there super early because we caught the earliest plane and directed to Tennessee. Wrestled the Harris brothers. Had a good match. It was good. It was good, and it was snug, and we gave it right back to them as much as they gave it to us, and people were surprised. They thought they were going to eat our lunch.
Hmm.
But obviously Havoc and I knew, that these guys make it look legit, so we have to, reciprocate. Otherwise, it's going to be a flat match. So we did it. Obviously, they liked it. Everyone, they went over whatever, and we had a good time, and nothing came out of it. Then we went down a second time, and we wrestled CM Punk and Julio De Niro. And again, great match. Unfortunately, when you wrestle, those matches, you only get 5 or 6 minutes. So it's hard to have a good story tag match in 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And again, we had a good match, but it was just like boom, 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 like arcade style. Just go, 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 and do what you got to do. So, I mean, we had a good time, and it was a good experience.
Yeah. When you mention experiences too, for you, what were wrestling for Ring of Honor the early days like? Because you talk about companies, you were wrestling for a bunch, but Ring of Honor had that cult following very early on, and people wouldn't know what it became after a while.
It definitely was a cult following,
Yeah.
and it definitely came as a hybrid from ECWA, Jim Kettner's ECWA, JAP, and Jack Savage's UCW, ICW promotion. Those three main promotions were rotating all the same talent. You know, the SAT, Red, John Xavier, Low Key, Homicide, the Hit Squad. And, you know, they started incorporating that with Ring of Honor, and it drew dramatically well. So wrestling for them, it was great. I mean, we wrestled a few times. I honestly was hoping we'd get a more consistent spot with them earlier on. Um, but for whatever reason, it didn't happen. And then I wrestled them again at when Adam Pearce was booking, and then wrestled them for again later on in my career. So I've wrestled them, you know, every stage. I
Yeah.
haven't wrestled them now under Tony Khan era, but that's another story.
Yeah. Well, you talk about, especially early in your career, how was the opportunity, or what were the crowds like just wrestling in the UK?
Great,
Yeah.
fantastic. Like I, I got that opportunity because in was it '07? I went to Harley Race's Japanese Noah camp,
Hmm.
right? And I met Nick Aldis. And Nick Aldis and his crew, he had like three or four guys, uh, and we hit it off. And we buddied up and we hit it off. And again, I'm speaking facts here. I'm not trying to gas anyone up or anything, but I did so well in the tryout that Harley Race himself put me on. He had a show on Friday for all the standouts in the tryout.
Hmm.
Nick Aldis was on it. I was on it. Um, Sam, who was in the Wyatt Six, he was on it.
Yeah.
What's his name? Sam Shaw.
Yeah.
He was on it. He's like, I'm with all
Yeah. Loomis now,
tags.
Dexter Loomis.
Loomis, that's his
Yeah.
name. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking Festus, but I know that wasn't him.
Yeah.
He made it. There's another guy, Jason Anthony. He made it. And at one point, Jason and I, we knew each other. We wrestled each other in the camp, and they stopped the camp and they told us, "You guys need to watch these guys because this is what we need." And I was honored they said
Hmm.
that, but I was also like, "Oh man, I'm gonna catch so much heat from everybody," you know. But I didn't care, you know. So Saturday was a regular WLW show, and he asked only two people to do it, myself and Jason Anthony, and um, I'm sorry, Stephen Anthony. His real name is Jason. My
Yeah.
bad. So we did it and ended up wrestling Curtis Axel that night in front of his grandfather, and his grandfather loved the match. You know, it was like his sixth or fifth match or whatever the case may be, and we had a banger. We had a very good match, and I got a
Hmm.
ton of heat, and he loved the fact that I was like an old school heel who gets heat and wasn't there trying to do cool moves. And we told a great story to the point where Harley Race asked me to come and move to St. Louis to be part of WLW full time, and I told him I couldn't, unfortunately, because you know I had a family, I had a house, and
Yeah.
I had bills to pay, so I couldn't just pick up everybody and just move down there. Um, but I was also told I was going to Noah for Japan, and that never happened. That's one of the times. But again, this business I was told owes me nothing. Bobby Lombardi, may he rest in peace. Day one, when I signed up at the doghouse, he goes, "Listen, kid, there's no guarantees in this business. This business owes you nothing. Understand that." Yes, sir. So people go to me now, "Are you mad you haven't made the national level yet?" No, because this business doesn't owe me anything. So that's the mentality I've had my whole career.
Yeah.
I can hear a million no's. I need one yes. And when you give me that one yes, I'm going to kick the door down and then you'll see exactly what everybody was missing out on. But
Wow.
I digress.
Well, when you talk about wrestling in the UK, was there anything that you think stood out about wrestling there compared to the States, or a strong point over there for you, or the crowds, like, did they pop for something else, or?
Oh, yeah, dude, it was different because I did a 3-week tour. I
Mhm.
stayed with Nick Aldis at the time, right? And he had a little promotion we wrestled for us, and that was great. But then we were working for, oh man, the promoter over there who was running All Star Wrestling, Brian Dixon. May he
Okay.
rest in peace.
Yeah.
All right. And he had guys like Regal and Finley and David Boy Smith. Like he's like the promoter of England with a treasured track record with talent.
Hmm.
So I was on the tour with Brian Danielson and Gangrel, and it was Rene Dupree was on the tour as well, and it was a great time because I got to wrestle guys like Robbie Dynamite, a bunch of English people, bunch of English stars. Flatliner was there. But point is, it was cool, but I thought it was going to be like World of Sport. So when I got there and I figured, and all this smartened me up, he's like, "Hey man, it's just like 80s WWE." And I went, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." So when we got in the ring, it was just so easy to get heat. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And it was perfect because at the end of the day, when it comes to professional wrestling, there's only two ways to make money, and that is the money's in the heat and the money's in the sell. And the sell comes from the heat. And obviously from selling, you get sympathy as a babyface, but the heat is where the money in the drawer is, and we were getting a ton of it.
Wow. What was like a day in the life on the tour like for you?
I'd wake up
Yep.
because I stayed with Nick. We'd have breakfast. He got me into this show, what was it called? Top Gear,
Hmm.
right? It was like a British racing show. They
Yeah.
raced, yeah, right? So I got into that. I didn't drink coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker. But those 3 weeks, I drank nothing but British tea, and I loved it. He
Wow.
goes to me the first time, "Here's some tea. You want some milk in it?" What? He goes, "Trust me." So we fell in love with it. We'd wake up, we'd go to the gym. We didn't do the camp shows. We did all the hall shows at nighttime, right? Because
Hmm.
Butlin's was the camp that they would have the camp shows, and then at nighttime they would do the hall shows. So we do that. We go to the gym, we work out, come back, take a shower, go to the venue wherever it is, a couple hours here, a couple hours there, do the show, come home, and repeat for 3 weeks.
Wow. When do you add Demetrius to the wrestling name?
Um,
Was there like a moment that made you just add it, or you just after a while, you
yeah,
think?
one time Mikey Whipwreck goes to me, "Hey kid, we can't just be Papadon." He goes, "You need a gimmick." So that's how I came up with the Greek god, right?
Hmm.
So, because I said I'm Greek, it's an extension of myself. I can incorporate it because we invented wrestling and the Olympics and everything in this world, and I can throw it in people's faces. Okay, but sometimes, just Papadon won't work. You need a first name so it could be realistic. And this is when the WWE was doing both names, and he goes, "You need a name." I'm like, "What about Demetrius Papadon?" He goes, "I love it." He goes, "Where'd you get it from?" I go, "It's my name." He goes, "But your name is Jimmy." I said, "Jimmy in Greek's Demetrius." Even better. So that's how it happened.
Wow. Is there like a lesson or a message that still stands out learning from a guy like Mikey Whipwreck, you think?
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm like a sponge. At
Hmm.
least for myself. I can't speak about anybody else. I learn from everybody and
Yeah.
everywhere and everything. Um, and the reason why I give credit to Mikey as one of my trainers is because one time I was doing WWE work and I said to him, "Hey Mikey," I said to him, "Homicide was my trainer, but I came to NYWC when the doghouse closed down to continue my training, and you took me under your wing and you polished me up." I said, "Do you mind if I use your name as one of my trainers?" And he goes, "If it can get you a job, sure, kid, no problem." "Oh, thank you, Mikey. Don't mention it." So, I tell people I was trained by Homicide and Mikey Whipwreck. And those two individuals are the two individuals who are the godfathers of professional wrestling because anyone who was anybody in professional wrestling from the Northeast came from those two gentlemen. And I'm not from our generation.
Yeah.
Before that, it was Johnny Rods.
Yeah.
And Johnny Rods, he had like Dreamer and Taz and the Dudleys. But when we came on the scene, in late 99, 98, 99, and then 2000, the two guys you learned under that you can 1 degree or 2 degrees of separation, you could trace all the talent back to is Mikey and Homicide. And I was very fortunate to sit on both their learning trees. So it was
Wow.
great. It's
Yeah.
and again, if I watch wrestling from 30 years ago or 50 years ago or wrestling current now today, I'm watching and I'm learning. I'm in the ring, I'm learning. Every time I step through those ropes, I learn something new. And I tell people the day you stop learning and the day you stop caring is the day you need to hang them up. So I'm always going to keep learning and learning and learning and learning. So
Yeah.
I want, like you said, got to evolve with the times. I got to keep going. I don't want to give up.
Wow. We've mentioned companies, but you especially, you're a part of two experiences. But before that, in general, how does the ECWA come? Because we talk about companies. Next year, they're hitting 60 years, so another storied company. For you, how does Papadon go to ECWA?
Um, very. I fell in love with the ECW product in the Kettner's Watch,
Hmm.
and I would go set up t chairs, and I would go and ride with Nana and Mega, because they were on the roster at the time, and hopefully get an opportunity. Got an opportunity in a battle royal once under Kettner. I told him, "Hey man, if you need anything, let me know." No spots opened up, and then finally I get a call. Spots opened up. Kettner sold the company to Mike Tartaglia, and Joey Zanolo was the booker.
Hmm.
And Joey Zanolo was one of the guys who were one of the photographers under Kettner's watch. And they started running the company. And I had a hell of a run there. And to this day, I'm the longest reigning ECWA heavyweight champion. You know,
Wow.
and the first guy to go into the Super 8 as champion, win the Super 8, and leave as champion. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Darius Carter.
Wow. How was your experience first, the 16th annual? How was your experience in the Super 8? Because we talk about tournaments in pro wrestling. That was and still is like the tournament. You look at who the who's who's in there. You were in two, but for you, how was your experience in yours?
I was in three.
Oh, three. Are you and
Three.
Darius tied or no? He's only in two.
No, Darius won two. I
Okay.
only won one.
Okay.
I should have won two,
Yeah.
but I digress.
Yeah.
I'm not the one to cry over spilled milk and bad booking. But I won 2012,
Hmm.
made it to finals in 2013, and lost to Damian Dragon. That's the one I should have won. Only because you use the tournament to elevate people. Damian won it, and he deserved to win it. I'm not saying he doesn't, but then retired. So then what's the point? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
no heat. I love Damian to death. He's a friend of mine. Great, great, great talent. Very skilled and very knowledgeable in his business. And him and I always had great matches, great chemistry. And then I was in the 20th anniversary, where all prior people who I think won or didn't win or competed were in the event. And that one I made to the second round and did the job and uh whatever, you
Yeah.
know? But point is just it was winning it in 2012 was surreal
Yeah.
because not only I it was a dream of mine, obviously to be in the tournament,
Hmm.
right? But winning it puts me within an elite class of individuals.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, getting a nice two-page spread in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, dude, it's a magazine I saw growing up. I'm in the magazine now. Like it's like it was surreal. Like I couldn't believe it. And it
Yeah.
wasn't just a little article or my name in the back in the results. It was a two-page spread. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Wow. Is
So,
there a match from your time at ECW that stands out to you?
oh, dude, I had so many.
Yeah.
I loved, yeah, I worked Tommaso Ciampa. I worked Adam Cole. I've worked Kakoa. Matt Saigon. I mean, everybody on the roster. Chris Wilde and I had some great
Wow.
matches.
Yeah.
Um, it, hmm, it was so cool because the people cared so much. Like at one point, I came in to save Chris in a match as a baby face, and the people they hated me so much. After a while, I organically became a baby face in ECWA because they were so entertained by my heel work that after a while they love to hate you, and then the love overcomes the hate. And if you're not doing your heel shtick, people are like, "What's wrong?" You know what I mean? So then you turn into organically into a babyface. That's what happened with me. But then what happened was at one point I tricked them and saved Chris Wall and then turned on him and they booed me out the freaking building. And it felt like I was on WWE TV doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was a weird feeling because if you turn on people all the time in this business, go heel, go face, you do this, you do that. But this swerve, it resonated with me and I felt it in my soul, in my bones, and it was just great. I mean, working with them was a great experience. And the run I had with ECWA was phenomenal. It was something that helped me jump my career and my name to the next level because I was having great matches and people were loving it.
Wow. You mentioned great matches. I've seen in your career you had a few of them, but is there anything that stands out for NYWC you got to wrestle? I think you did two or three, but Fatal 4-Way Iron Man matches. I think it was you, Tony Nese, Silver, Bandito. I think later on you did one with Reynolds. Is there anything that stands out? Because even on the indies, you don't see matches like that often.
Nice and he's one of my favorite opponents,
Yeah.
Tony Nese. Him and I told Nice one time he's my Ricky Steamboat to my Ric Flair.
Yeah.
All right. Him and I have phenomenal chemistry, and Tony Nese is one hell of an athlete, but he's also a phenomenal wrestler.
Hmm.
And he has a great mind for this business. He gets it. We just mesh very well because uh, we had a great feud uh, in NYWC where he dropped the title to me and I dropped it back to him. We got feud of the year, and then that match you're talking about is something called the Master of the Mat match,
Hmm.
where you have 30 minutes and the person with the most points wins the match and becomes the master of the mat. You get 2 points for a submission, 1 point for a pin. If you get, if you get caught cheating, there are DQ and countouts. You lose points, whatever the
Wow.
case may be.
Yeah.
I've I won two of those,
Hmm.
and Nice won two of those, and I think Nice is also Grand Master of the Mat, which is like all the winners. I've never had an opportunity to become a Grand Master, but whatever,
Yeah.
doesn't matter to me. But it was NYWC produced a lot of great talent and had a lot of great matches in NYWC with talents like you mentioned, Alex Reynolds, Tony Nese, Silver, um, Josh Daniels, another one of my favorite opponents, Quiet Storm, who's over in Japan, another one of my favorite opponents. And we would just tear it up non-stop. It just like workhorses go in there 100 miles an hour and just give it our all. And people were just chomping at the bit. It was a really good time.
Yeah. Is there any Josh Daniels memories that stand out?
Oh, there's a bunch. I
Yeah.
mean, I first time I saw him, I was like, this guy reminds me of Benoit, the way he wrestles.
Yeah.
And he was wearing, I think, white and blue long trunks, just like Pegasus Kid when
Yeah.
he was in New Japan. And people were comparing him a lot to that. But Josh is he's money, man.
I know.
He's a great wrestler. And that's why he's one of my favorite opponents because we've had matches all over the place. New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, whatever, tag matches, singles matches. And I, we've always tore it up. I remember one time we've had a three-way dance. It was Havok, him, and myself at Cyberspace, the last Cyberspace show, where it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. The first fall, you win the internet title. Josh had.
Hmm.
Second match, second fall, you win the heavyweight title. Whoever gets the pin. Havok had it, and coincidentally, they put me both over each fall, so I got both belts, and I was the last internet and cyberspace heavyweight champion in cyberspace.
Wow. You said it. He's a great mind. I talk to him weekly. I still try to get one more match out of him, but he doesn't want to do anything with wrestling really. He just wrote a book though.
Yeah, I bought it. I
Me
have
too. I
it.
have it right over here.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but it's right there on my shelf.
Yeah, I
I'm
have
looking
mine
forward to
too.
reading it.
So,
Him and
when
Shaw Cradle.
yeah, amazing. When you talk, you mentioned Tony Nese and you talk about the chemistry. Is it through the chemistry that you had that you decided teaming with him was going to be an idea?
Um, to be honest with you, I can't even remember why we started teaming. I guess they put us together, or it could have been our chemistry. It could have been, I have no idea how it ended up, but we had
Yeah.
a good tag team going at Evolve and Dragon Gate USA. So we were what we called the Premier Gods, I think it was the
Yeah,
name
the
that we
Premier
called.
Gods,
Yeah,
yeah.
so yeah. So it was cool. It was really cool. It lasted for a little bit and then it didn't. So, it's one of those things.
Yeah, and when we talked about the ECWA Super 8, another tournament that's pretty prestigious in wrestling, when you look at the who's who, the Shane Shamrock Memorial Cup, how did that one happen for you?
I was wrestling for MCW at the time,
Yep.
consistently, and they offered me the opportunity to be in the cup. I believe that the year I was in, Luke Hawk's one, I think,
Hmm.
if I'm not mistaken. But that was something I wish. I mean, Grant, I love Luke to death. He's like my brother from another mother, and he deserves to win. But I was hoping I get another shot at trying to win that cup and put that on the resume. But whatever. If it
Yeah.
happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah. How is
But it
the
was a fun time.
Yeah, when you talk about having a fun time, your career goes over and over, and the wrestlers you got to wrestle. Just in general, the first person I got to ask you about, how is it wrestling Goldust?
Oh, dude.
Talk about learning experiences. Yeah.
Dustin is such a class act, and he's not selfish. Like when I got there and he showed up, I said, "All right, man, you're the veteran. You want to put it together? I'll do whatever you want to do." He goes, "You put it together, kid." Okay. So we called some spots and we went out there and we worked. And we had a great match, phenomenal match, and the people loved it. It was a good way. It was in Connecticut. Um, Main event, I forgot the name of the company. It was CWE, maybe, if there's something
Something
like
like that.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, Caleb Seltzer, I think, was the promoter at the time. I
Wow, I
think
didn't
that,
know that. Wow. Yeah.
right? I think he's running another company now around that area.
Yeah.
Um, Good guy. Gave me the opportunity and we delivered. And he was happy with it. Dustin was very happy with it. And it was a great match. It was cool. And just hearing the music come into the ring for 1 second, it was like you hear the Goldust music and I'm like, oh, this is so dope. And
Wow.
even I kind of like marked out inside of myself. And the only other time I've done that is when Gangrel's music played when I wrestled him. And that was down in Florida for Ronin Wrestling. And I think Gangrel has the greatest entrance music of all time.
Mhm.
Only second by the NWO and a couple other songs out there, like the Freebirds and the Road Warriors and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But dude, just hearing and then the beat drop and you hear
Yeah.
it was
Goosebumps.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Who brings the best out of Papadon, you'd say, in the ring?
Oh, I would say myself,
Yeah.
but that'd be a conceited answer only because I'm very, very particular with what I do in them. I try not to have any wasted motion in my matches, and I try to not go around the corner to cross the street type of scenario.
Hmm.
Um, but there are a lot of guys who've brought out the best in me. I would say Tony Nese is up there, Josh Daniels is up there, uh, Homicide's definitely up there. Uh, the Hit Squad, Mafia and Mac, both of them,
Hmm.
individually and as a tag team. Um, Jorge Santi, a New York wrestler up here, he's
Yeah.
brought in brings the best out of me. Crowbar's brought in the best out of me. Him and I tore it up recently. Um, you know, it's hard to just pick a couple people, but my next opponent's going to bring out the best of me, whoever it is.
Yeah. And then when you talk about favorites, I know you said that Elks Lodge, I think it was your favorite venue. What's so special about it, you think, that you wrestled in?
Just the atmosphere,
Yeah.
being that it has the roots with ECW, but also you have that upper tier balcony.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it was two tiered. So you fill up with, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people in that venue, whether it was ICW or UCW, ICW, or USA Pro. You just, the aura, the atmosphere, just them surrounding you on two levels. It was very, 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 what's the right word? I don't want to say euphoric, but it was very like, in my opinion, from my point of view, it was very satisfying,
Okay.
and it felt grand,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some other buildings I love wrestling in, like 2300 Arena is always a great place to wrestle in. Wrestled there multiple times. My name's on the wall where they ask you to sign the signature. Um, Another place is the Masonic Temple for Virginia Championship Wrestling in Norfolk, Virginia. Love that building.
Hmm.
Probably my second favorite or third favorite building to wrestle in. So there's a few venues. There's
Yeah.
even down in California, I wrestled for AWS promotion by Bart. Bart was the promoter.
Hmm.
Um, it was a nice little VFW hall, but you put 300 people in there and they're packed wall to wall,
Yeah.
and it's just very, very um, intimate. And it was just a very cool experience to wrestle over there a few times. And while he was still running, he hasn't ran the show in a while, but when he
Hmm.
was running AWS, I'd go there regularly and wrestle people left and right and just tear it up. They hated me, man. They hated me
Wow.
so much. It was great.
Yeah. Well, you talk about everything you've done in your career. I'm curious. You started to mention it. What does the future hold for Papadon right now? You keep saying your favorite match is your next one. I see you're doing new things like ACW, but what does the future hold for you right now?
Listen, if there's, I used to do a podcast called The Conspiracy Horseman, right? With Ben Hamin, Stevie Richards, and Big Sal Graziano. They used to call me the bookie monster because all I want is bookings. And if there's a company on Mars booked by Elon Musk, I want to get booked on it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm trying to go everywhere and anywhere in between and just keep wrestling and keep stealing the shows and keep entertaining the fans and keep giving them their money's worth, because unfortunately the wrestling business right now, a lot of the boys and girls, they don't know how to work. They just know how to wrestle.
Mm.
Big, big, big difference.
Yeah.
And the difference is that when you work, you manipulate the emotions of the crowd and you're the puppet master and you make an emotional connection with them and you control the pace of the match to take them on the highs and the lows emotionally, vocally. But when you're just wrestling, and just doing high spots for the sake of high spots, you're doing it so you can get a reaction. You're
Mm.
not creating the reaction and you're not making that emotional connection because after they've seen the same high spot two, three, four times, the reactions deplete. It gets watered down. So at the end of the day, what really happens? My job as a heel or as a face, depending on what side of the coin I'm on, and 99.9% of the time I'm a heel, is to get the babyface over and get the storyline and the angle of the match over while I'm getting myself over. In the meantime, and in between time, subliminally. But people don't know that. The
Yeah.
fans aren't aware of that. But sometimes, especially nowadays, people are more worried about getting a chant or entertaining the fans and hearing, this is awesome, or whatever the case may be,
Mm.
because they don't want the fans to, I don't want to say expose, but the fans, when they dictate the match, no one gets over. Because like I said, things get depleted the more times they've seen.
Yeah.
So that move they used to do, that 630, 80-degree twisty, flippity, floppity, triple Lindy you're doing off the top rope through two tables of barbed wire flames and tacks or whatever onto 7,000 people, and you land on the guy, the first time it's amazing. You might get a million views as a reel, right, online. But the 10th time they've seen it, they've
Yeah.
seen it already. So now what do you got to do? Instead of a 680, now you got to do a 960. And
Yeah.
after the 960, you got to do a 1080. It just, so then the fans are controlling your career and the match. I don't let that happen. It's the other way around for me. So, you know, for me, sky's the limit, man. I,
Yeah.
I want to go on a national level. I want to go to Japan. If I can wrestle on the moon, I will. Mars, Elon, let's do it, baby.
Nice. Well, Papadon, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I remember reaching out when Mike Tobin suggested it. I'm glad we got to make this happen. However, every episode I've done has ended the same. Now, the day you decide it's all done in wrestling, which obviously isn't happening anytime soon, but the day you decide it's all done, what do you want Papadon's legacy in pro wrestling to be?
Oof. Wow. Um, Whew, let me see. I mean, are you talking from a fan's perspective, from the boys' perspective,
In general, what do
or
you want when people talk about Papadon? What do you want the legacy of Papadon to be?
I want to be respected by my peers for the quality and my professionalism, my talent, and being able to get anyone over and work with anyone, being a wrestler's wrestler,
Hmm.
being a great worker. Uh, the same way where people talk about guys like Tommy Dreamer, Jerry Lynn, Mikey Whipwreck, Homicide, guys who get in the ring and even though they're very talented themselves, they've earned the respect of many other individuals because of their professionalism and their talent.
Hmm.
So that's what I would say I would want my legacy to be. Um, from my kids' point of view, which is my main concern because my family comes above everything,
Hmm.
I would say I want them to look back and say, you know what? Dad never quit. Dad chased a dream. And whether he made it on a national level or he didn't, he never gave up. And he has done what 90% of the people, maybe 95% of the people in this world wish they can do.
Yeah.
And that's actually follow their dreams and do something they want to do with their life, as opposed to doing a 9 to 5 and just being miserable and not taking the chance. I want them to learn that, hey, man, there's nothing wrong with failing. Because when you fail, you learn. And the more times you fail, the more you learn. And eventually, you'll hit the nail on the head. And hopefully, when you do, it takes you to where you want to go and be happy. You know?
Yeah. Papadon, I can't thank you enough. Like I said, I'm 21 to see the career that you've had. I'm watching your matches in college right now instead of paying attention to class. So thank you so much for doing this.
Well, listen, brother, you're old enough to be my kid. I got kids older than you. You
Wow.
know?
Yeah.
So thank you for the opportunity. It was a pleasure talking to you. And everybody listening, look, at the end of the day, support great independent wrestlers and great independent wrestling. And on top of that, if you're out there and you're listening to this and your dream is to become a ballerina an artist, a Major League Baseball player, or professional wrestler, or an Oscar-winning actor or actress, follow it. Just follow your dreams. You have nothing to lose by being happy. Because it's not how much money you make. No one gets into wrestling for the money. People get into wrestling because the wrestlers are the biggest marks of themselves than anybody.
Yeah.
You know? And we get into it because we love this business. And then there might be a screw or two loose up here for all of us. But we get into it because we love it.
Yeah.
And then when we emulate what we saw growing up and we do it, it's happy. There's no greater drug in this world that can give me the high that I get when going out there and entertaining the fans and manipulating them, knowing that I know I want them to be over here at a certain point and over there at a certain point, and when I hit the marks, I got you, sunshine.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the greatest.
Yeah. Papadon, thank you so much. And you have a storied career, so down the line, maybe a part 2 or something. Maybe we can get Josh Daniels in here. We'll do something down the line. Yeah,
man, definitely. I would love to. I would love to hook up with Josh again. I mean, we talk once in a while online. Yeah. He's doing great with the acting and everything like that. And yeah, man, it'd be great. It would be great. I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to doing it again with you anytime. Just let me know.
Thank you for doing this, and thank everybody for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.
Thank you for watching this episode of Best for Business. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, because this is Best for Business.